Good morning. All right, now maybe your welcome back coincides with my enthusiasm to serve as your new president. I'm extremely humbled and honored to serve as your president and CEO of this austere and robust institution. Ladies and gentlemen, in a phrase, I'm jacked. Now, David accounted and recounted last year at our moving forward strategy, and I think it's worth the moment as fellow believers in free enterprise in this great city and this region to perhaps spend a moment on our roots of entrepreneurship. And to do so, I think it's worth noting an early prophet on this stage in this city several hundred years ago. For you see, ladies and gentlemen, it's the legacy of William Penn for which we're here today. And we all know what William Penn designed in the roots of representative government. But let me share with you briefly Penn's notions of entrepreneurship and free enterprise, from which he had the very simple notion that if you have something up here called intellectual capacity, and something here called a heart and a soul, and something down here called intestinal fortitude. Now, I'm a country kid from Lebanon County. We call that guts. But if you combine your intellectual capacity with a passion and a heart for desire and some guts, great things can be created. And in Penn's day, in the day of his landing here not too far, he understood that that creation, whether it be a shingle or a barrel or a piece of flatware, had intrinsic value. It was a private property right to be protected under the rule of law and fundamental to free enterprise. Today, we call that mixture of heart and head and intestinal fortitude intellectual property, nanofabrication, applied research and development. And I have no doubt that William Penn's legacy of free enterprise, of entrepreneurship, is alive and well in this room this morning. And I also have no doubt, based on your chairman's comments and our shared strategy, that we will complete our mission. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a simple mission. We will work together to attract, retain, and grow jobs for companies and citizens in this city and in this region. Together, we are going to attract companies through our world-class Select Greater Philadelphia initiatives. We are going to bring world-class employers to this city and this region. To do so, in the short term, we're going to need to tackle some much-delayed infrastructure projects that I think not only physically can mean gridlock for many of us as we try to engage in commerce throughout the day, but I think increasingly symbolically is an impediment to world-class economic development. So we are going to work together to continue to ensure that our airport is world-class. And we are going to work together to get a shovel in the ground, extend light rail, and break the gridlock that is now the 422 corridor. How do we retain companies and employees together in this region? Well, first of all, you join your local Chamber of Commerce and you become a member of this regional Chamber of Commerce. And I know there are several prospective members in the audience this morning. Ask someone who's a member. Find out that even during this lean economic time, how there's a value proposition in membership that has sustained enterprises, that has retained companies and employees in this region. And finally, we're going to grow together. We're going to grow together. And we will grow in understanding that how wealth will be created in this century will be by the individual with a little intellect, a lot of guts, and a heart of desire. In fact, 50% of all the jobs that will be created between now and the next 10 years will be from one individual starting up a company. And a fair amount of those individuals will be women, African American, Korean, Brazilian, Eastern European. And so as David touched on a notion of inclusion, whether it be through a supplier network or through rich and robust advocacy, we will grow and we will grow in a highly inclusive manner. So let me ask a favor, and perhaps one more thing we need to work on together. In a word, advocacy. Advocacy. And that is why today I'm pleased to announce the launch of the Greater Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce Advocacy Network. It's a simple concept that if together we listen, if we relay information back and forth, if we learn and listen on what we've heard, and then act in the public arena of ideas, free enterprise will not just barely get by, it'll thrive in this city and this region. So at the conclusion of this breakfast, we're going to be asking you to begin that process, to become a member of our advocacy network by completing a simple survey. It's the first step in listening. But we're not just limiting our request to the 1,400 or so folks that are dining with us this morning. Over the next 30 days, we're going to listen and ask for the input of approximately 25,000 individuals in this region that care about free enterprise. And of course, with a little bit of intellect, a heart of desire, and some good old-fashioned guts, once we listen, we're going to vigorously enter the arena of ideas. Now, I started with the legacy of William Penn, truly prophetic in all that he wrote, said, and did. Let me conclude with perhaps a more modern-day prophet, Larry the Cable Guy. Now, I have on a very good authority, David, that Larry never worked at Comcast. And I know Gail Gibbons is here. He's never worked at Verizon. But ladies and gentlemen, there is not a moment to lose. We need to move with urgency and dispatch. And in the words of that famous cable guy, we got to get her done. Enjoy your breakfast.